Welcome back. Up until now, we have stored a lot of data, right? We have already stored a lot of data in R by saying x equals to 10. We did something like this. We pressed Control Enter, right? And then we got it in the console, right? So if I were to do that right now, x equals to 10, right? It goes into my console. Once it is done, I also have x in my global environment as x equals to 10. Y equals to 20, etc. Right? All of this is from the past lecture itself. We get this. This is how we store data in R. We understood that this is how we'll store data in R. Now the problem we try to encounter is that the actual real life data doesn't occur like this. Let's say, for example, you are trying to record the marks of a group of 8 students in maths. So let's say I'll write math marks. When somebody tells you the marks, they will be like 79, 82, 72, 36, 47, 55, 65 and 98. Right? These were the marks of 8 students, roll number 1 to 8, let's say, on a math test out of 100, slightly more difficult test, right? Not a lot of students getting good marks. When we look at this, if we try to store this in R, let's say for some reason we try to store this in R to store each value separately. Let's say I go ahead and try to store this like, okay, x1 is 79. Then what is next? x2 is 82. I'm not running the code right now. I'm just trying to type that out. Type the code out. Then I have x3 as 72. Okay. And so on and on. I'll put a hash mark over here. And so on. Now this is a very bad way to store data, right? For one thing, okay, it's taking a lot of time, right? And for another, when I want to try to analyze the overall value, let's say I want to find the average marks or the variance in the marks, or I want to plot the marks, some or the other thing I want to do, I would not be able to do that, right? So line 2, 3 and 4 are very bad ways to store data anywhere. Since the data of a single thing is not combined, right, it is not together, analyzing it later becomes a difficult task, right? That's why rather than storing data as data types, from data types, one level above it are data structures. Okay, we store them in data structures. Like there are multiple data types, there are also multiple data structures in R. Okay, we'll start with the most easy one today, which is nothing but vectors in R. I'll try to repeat it. The only reason we are studying data structures is that they is the way we store data in R. To store each mark of each student separately would be much more difficult than to store the marks of the students together in a single data structure, right? Now coming to vectors, what vectors are? Vectors are very similar to, if not the same, as the sets that we have already studied in logic. Okay. Vectors in R. Okay, so set theory usually students have studied, right? So vector is nothing but an ordered set or collection of objects of the same data type stored together. Okay. By definition, it is an ordered set. That means first object, second object, third object inside the vector. You will have to label what is the location because there is an order in the set that we need to maintain. Okay. It should be of the same data type. If it is numeric, it is numeric, character, character, logical, logical. That is fine. But if it is of different data types, we'll start entering into issues that will come to later. Okay, they are going to be stored together, right? The idea behind this is that when we create a vector, we'll create a vector for something that we already know, as in marks in math. Okay, if you have marks in English, you won't be combining them into the same vector, right? We'll logically try to keep those two separate. Now coming to vectors in R, vectors are created using the C function. Okay. Whenever we come across a new function, ideally we should go ahead and type question mark the name of that function to check out the help section for it. Right? So this is a generic function which combines its arguments. As we said, we want a combination or a collection of the objects of the same types. The default method combines its arguments to form a vector. All arguments are coerced to a common type, which is the type of the returned value, and all the attributes except names are removed, which is fine. You'll see a lot of things about this function in the help section. If you want to understand, you can always try to. It's not a compulsion. So the way that we create a vector, let's say I want to name it math.marks. I type C and I open up a circle bracket and close. As soon as I do that, a close bracket comes. Okay, we don't want to erase that off. And I start typing data that we have. Let's say 79, 82, 72, 36, 47, 55, 65 and 98. Okay. As you can see, okay, as soon as I do that, math.mark करके something appears in my global environment, which is num, so that's numeric. Okay, then it has some square brackets. Inside it is written 1:8, and then the same values in the same order that I have typed here. Okay, let's see what happens when I try to call that. When I call that, I essentially get the 1 at the start in the square bracket. We don't yet know what it is. And then I get the marks of the 8 students completely in order. Okay. So this is a vector. Now, similar to the is and the as functions that we have done, we also have functions for vector. Is dot vector and as dot vector to convert some, to check if something is a vector or to convert it into a vector format. Is dot vector math dot marks. True. That means it's actually a vector, right? Let's try, okay, to check if the variable y that we have is a vector. Okay, we don't know. If I try to run this code, I get true, which is counterintuitive, right? We already stored y as 20 before in this lecture, right? We stored it during the data types in R wala lecture. So why is y and vector, right? Everything in R is at least a vector. X10 is a vector with one element. It's an ordered set of one element. Okay, and vector can have any number of elements. You can also have a vector with no elements. Okay, X, Y, R, T, E, F currently in my global environment, okay, are all vectors. Each and every one of them. Name is also a vector. It's just that X, Y, R, T, E, F are and name are all vectors with one element. It doesn't matter. So anytime we store something in R, it's always going to be at least a vector. Okay. Now you can have, so I'll star mark this point. Everything in R is at least a vector. Every value in R, not everything. I'll say every value in R. We can have something like functions as well. Okay. Vectors can be of character format or logical format, or in other words, logical data type and character data type. So what should I do if I want to store it as a character vector? So let's say I want to create a vector called names. The function is the same. Okay, rather than numeric values, I'll try to provide character values. So let's say Bhavya, Neil, Vidhi, Karan, and I can store them together. As soon as I run this line of code, we can see that a vector appears in the values section, which has character. This means character. Okay, this represents you have 4 elements or values in it. This is the first value, the second value, the third value, fourth value, etc. Right? I can have a vector with 5,000 values. It doesn't matter. You can check about. You can even check this to if it is a vector or not. Right? Now you can also check if it is a character vector. So if you want to check if it is a character vector, okay, both are true, that means names is a character vector. Yes. You can also have a logical vector, let's say pass or fail. Okay, so for the we have this, right? I'm typing true, 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 false. Okay, so essentially I am saying true means that they have passed, F means that they have failed. So I've listed down four values: true, 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 false. Again, I can check if it is a vector using is.vector, and I can check if it is logical using is.logical. Now is.logical, is.character is something that we have already been accustomed to by now, right? So that's how a vector is formatted in R. Okay. When you look at vectors, when you will look at character vector, that's not a there's not a lot of things that we can do with it. Okay. But when we look at numeric and the logical vectors, there are a lot of things that we can do with it. Okay. Let's say I also give you marks of math marks of 4 students. In this case 90, 86, 72, 88. I try to store this in math marks. As soon as I do this, I get an error. Why? I separated all the things by comma. I should have stored this. Okay. Yeah. I missed the C function. I did not provide the function itself, and hence I got the error. Okay, so I run this again. It stores it properly. As soon as I run this, you can see that the old math.marks went away. Okay. So if you store the same variable again, okay, if you use the same name again in R, the old thing will be deleted, right? So now if I were to say, to show you an example, name Vidhi, I run this, भव्य जो था वो delete हो गया. When you look at name here right now, Bhavya got deleted. Instead, it is now recalled as Vidhi. I cannot change that back. Anything that has gone into the console cannot be changed back. Okay, so keep that in mind whenever you try to name something in R. Okay, we don't want to make that mistake. So we'll ideally try to keep those separate, but in some cases, we will be using this property to improve a good amount of calculations. Okay, along with that, I'll give you English marks as well of the 4 students. Okay. Now we also have the English marks. These English marks and the maths marks are of the same students, roll number 1 to 4 of the class. If I were to ask you find the total marks of each student, what do you think you should do? Okay. Try this, try a few things, think about it till then, and pause the video. After this, I'll show you the solution. Okay, math.marks plus ing.marks, I get 4 out. Okay, so essentially what we have is math.marks is equals to C 90, 96, 72, 88. Ing.marks is 85, 62, 39, 85. When I run the code math.marks plus ing.marks, each element gets added up. So the first element, the first value in math.marks gets added with the first value in ing.marks, okay, to give us the output 175. Similarly, you have the output 158, 111, 173. The idea is each operation happens together. Okay, so mathematical operations on vectors happen element wise. So if I were to do math.marks minus ing.marks, I'll get this as the output. My 90 got 90 minus 85 5, 96 minus 62 34, 72 minus 39 73, 88 minus 85 3. Okay, you can even multiply the two to check that, and it won't change. Any operator that we have learned up until now, the same rule applies. Even the remainder operator, element wise होगा. Okay, now the question is, okay, what happens when I try to do something like this? Okay, let's say x I am storing as 2 4 6 8, and y I am storing as c 10 20. What do you think happens when I run x plus y? Okay, try pausing the video, run this line of code and try to understand what happened. Okay, even run y equals to 10 10 20. Run the code on line 38, try to understand what's happening. Okay, once you have either figured out or you are like, I don't know, watch the video. Okay, so now we'll do operations on vectors with unequal length. Length is basically the number of elements that a vector has. So when I say x equals to 2 4 6 8, the code that we have run is x plus. Okay, now what happens? Let us try to run the output and try to see if there is an error. It is obvious that R cannot do this, but there is not an error. We are getting an answer. We are getting 12, 24, 16, 28. Now 12, 24 seems very logical in nature, right? 2 got added with 10, 4 got added with 20. So when I run this code, R also does the same thing. Okay, 2 plus 10 हो गया. So first answer comes out to be 12. 4 plus 20 हो गया 24. Now the question is, what happens now? So what do I add to 6 and to 8? Okay. So when you do something like this, okay, R replicates the smaller vector. Essentially, it adds 10 and 20 here and then gives the output as 16 and 28. Yes, getting my point? Now let's try to take this 1 degree further and try to say, what if, sir, it replicates, right? So if what if let's say I'll store this in y2 would be 10 comma 20 comma 30 and I try to do x plus y2. Now what gets replicated? There the idea was simple, right? Here there are two elements, here there are four elements, so ये दो को दो बार लिख दो तो हो जाएगा काम, right? If you write 10 and 20, 10 and 20, you get the four elements that you require. Here what replicates? Is it 10 because it is the first element? Is it the average of the three? Is it 20? Is it 30? There are so many scenarios that can occur, right? What do you think happens? Try to run the code and think what happens. As soon as I ran this, okay, I got the answer 12, 24, 36, 18. But along with this, I got a warning message, which is in x plus y2, longer object length is not a multiple of the shorter object length. This is essentially telling me that there might be some error, okay, because 4 is not a multiple of 3. Four is not a multiple of 3 and hence there might be some error, but idea is it got replicated, the first element gets replicated always. If there are two are required, two gets replicated, right? Okay, because of this property, okay, and because if you were try to think, if I do x plus 1, okay, here x is of length 4 and 1 is of length 1, because like I said 1 is also a vector in R, everything is a vector to at least the very least. So R thinks of this like this, so R thinks because 4 is a multiple of 1, or let's say I'll call this 2 so that we don't get confused between the two. R does something like this. Every element got added with 2. If I to do multiply by 2, divide by 2, everything will result in the same thing. Every operation happens element wise such that the vector has been made together. Okay. Now coming to some generic functions for vector. Okay. So one of which is length of a vector, let's say length of x gives the length or the number of elements, or the length of a vector, 4. Then you have sum x gives the total. Now this works only on numeric vectors. Okay, it does not work on a character vector, but length works on a character vector as well. That's not an issue for length. You also have the mean of x gives the mean of the vector. You have median of x which gives you the median of the vector. Okay, so these are just named functions that you might see a lot being used. Along with this, you have variance as well, which gives you sample variance of a vector. Okay, you have standard deviation of x as well, very self-explanatory in nature. You have IQR of x. We have learned about all these concepts in the assumed knowledge part as well. All of these functions work along with a lot of other functions. Okay, you also have something called as a head function that we'll come to later. Okay, along with this, right, we also have some pre-stored vectors in us, which we might be making use of. You have letters, right, A, B, C, D. You also have letters. You have month dot name, and you have month dot ABB. So all of these are something called as pre-stored vectors in R. You also have, no, colors is not a vector. So these four are major pre-stored vectors. We may or may not be using them a lot, but it is good to know, right? So this is essentially the beginning of understanding vectors in R. Okay. We have not yet touched upon how will we be using the logical vectors as such. But coming to the major point, where we go back to the definition of vectors. Okay. We called vectors a collection of objects with the same data type. If it is numeric, it has to be numeric. If it is logical, it has to be logical, right? And when we check the help section of the C function, we got it the same way. All arguments are coerced to a common type, which is the type of the return value. Coercing is essentially forcing everything to be like the other. Okay. So if I were try to create x2, let's say with Bhavya, his marks in math and marks in English. While code runs fine, okay, there is no error as such, but when you look at x2 in the environment, there is a big difference. x2 entirely has been taken as a character. This entire thing has been taken as a character. Even 90 and 85 have quotations. Okay, they too are now character. R has forgotten about them as a numeric thing, but they are now character in nature. What happens if I were to use, let's say, logical along with this? Say x3 a 90 85 true. x3 true also got the quotations and has now been converted to character. Okay, we can check this with is dot character x2 is dot character x3, right? Now if I were to, let's say, store no characters, just the numeric values and the logical values, what happens then? Let's say I also use false. This is where we learn something new, something that is used pretty often everywhere, that is true is equals to 1, false equals to 0. In any place, this is always true. Usually true is regarded as 1, false is regarded as 0. And that is why, okay, that is why you can take a sum of a logical vector because as soon as you try to do that, R converts that logical into numeric where every true will become 1, false will become 0, and when you take the total you will get the number of 1, that is the number of true. Okay, that's why you can take sum of a logical vector, right? So I'll mark this here, true equals 1 and false equals. We can also write true and false in a shorter format, okay? That is just T and just F. I can also check if the two vectors are same using the equal to operator. Right. So here also it happens element wise. So it checked if the first element of x4 is same as the first element of x5. So true, they are the same. If the second element is the same, if the third element is the same, if the fourth element is the same. So they checked every which way so that we get all the four as true because each element is the same as the x4 wala part, right? This is not the only way we can create a vector. Okay, this is the very basic of vector. We'll try to understand other data structures, okay, in R, and then we'll come back to how we can create vectors differently. But why other data structures? Why other data structures are required? Disadvantages of a vector. For first disadvantage, okay, it is one dimensional in nature. Okay, so vector can only store data in one direction. It cannot have rows and columns. It only has a row. Okay, we might we might face a situation we would like both rows and columns. And the second issue, can store data of only a single type. This is another big issue because when we would actually be taking real life data, right? Let's say class ka data hai, so I'll have name, right? Or students marks in mock 1 and a student's marks in mock 2, and let's say average. Okay, now the problem is I cannot store all of these together in a single vector. Okay, I would have to store them in separate vectors and try to analyze something. This would always be character, this would be integer most probably, since I'll round off the marks. This would also be integer. Average may or may not be integer in nature, right? So this is just going to be numeric. I would want all these four to coexist inside a single data structure so that I can use that data structure quite easily, right? So that I cannot get from a vector, and hence I'll require more data structures. So the solution to the first problem, okay, leads us to something called as a matrix, and this leads us to something called as data. We'll study both these data structures in detail as well. There are other data structures in R. We'll be studying both these data structures in detail and how we'll go about doing stuff in R. Okay. But for this lecture, okay, what you want to do is try to create vectors of different types. One of the example would be try to create a vector, okay, of the output that you might get when you roll a die. Try to create a vector of the outcomes that you might get when you toss two coins. Okay, so those I would consider homework questions. Create a vector called DIE which contains the outcome possibilities when a die is rolled. This is A and this is going to be B. Create a vector called um, toss is which contain the outcome possibilities when two coins are tossed. Okay, if you want to try something challenging, you can obviously try 3 coins or 2 dice. Okay, but for now practice this much. Try to find the variance of the vector die, okay, and length of the vector tosses. Okay, but that's it for this session. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, keep practicing, keep programming. Goodbye.